conflict of interest. I think by this he wanted us to amplify.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair, our interactions with the private security organization starts from the headquarters down to the districts, because their deployment, some are in the districts. Now, when it comes to the districts, the DPCs supervise the private security organizations down there, those ones who are within the district. And the district is where they also deposit their firearms in terms for safety, in terms of log in and log out. We also share information at that lower level in case of anything. Though it's not structured, but we do share. Secondly, the issue of integration of CCTV. Chair, like we have already mentioned, the matter is before the cabinet. Because the CCTV they are talking about are for their clients, who are private individuals. And we have been using some of them to help us with investigation, but not in a formal way. That's why we are coming up with a standard or to make sure that we cooperate and handle it seamlessly. Until that is done, we shall still continue to have it ad hoc to those who can accept to work with us. But if you look at most of these clips that come, actually we get the clips from the private individuals, and they have been very cooperative. So once we have that cabinet memo passed, I think it will help us a lot. But for now, we accept it's not yet seamless as it's expected. Then, Chair, we talked about the tax burden. We are not clear of what they are talking about, whether it's the tax from police or the tax from URA. Which one? Why are they complaining about the tax? Is it us?
If I may recollect, refresh my memory,
that most of them may not have the same capacity. And that's why we are giving them options for those who can procure their own arms. They can do so. But for those who are not able, police has guns. And we are now standardizing the guns that we have so that they simply hire from us at a very reduced cost, as opposed to the tax they are talking about. Yes. So far, we were able to get about 2,000 guns, which I think most of them are now accessing. And of the view that since this is a better alternative, we now need to make sure the supply is there so that when they need the guns, they are able to get the guns. So that's how we are trying to...
Because all your guns are fingerprinted.
Yes, we have fingerprinted.
So there wouldn't be any problem if it is in...
No, not at all. Thank you, Chair.
Would it be useful to have routine
Times these are employees misbehave, they kill their bosses, they rob. Chair, this arises from actually purely welfare issues. Because you see, this private security, where they work, they interact with the bosses, and they know how much they pay to the company. But what they get is sometimes very small, and that causes a problem. So what we are doing right now is that we are profiling all companies with their employees, so that if an employee misbehaves in one company, because they have been rotating. He commits a crime under this company, then he goes and gets employed in another company. This company is not aware that actually he had issues where he worked before. So the system we are developing is going to help us track, so that once somebody commits an offense under this company, there is no way he can now get a job with another company, because he would have already been what? Blacklisted. Yeah, so that is one of the ways. We already, the database that we are developing, actually we are about to complete now, and we should use. The time frame for training, I'm told, is 1 month. So, Honorable, you can enroll and have a 1 month intensive. Then you can acquire a gun. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, the fingerprinted guns for PSOs are 28,187.
100, I beg your pardon?
28,187.
In the hands of private?
Fingerprinted.
Okay.
In the hands of private security.
What's the total number that they have? Please capture that.
That's the total number.
That's the total number in the hands of private.
So okay. 100% we are fingerprinted.
All of them are fingerprinted. Okay. Okay.
Mwera wokirabye bwe twatadde ku nninga private security guards babadde for some good time. Naye bwe bagamba nti no kitandiseewo okwo kati batandise okukikola oluvannyuma lwa myezi 3, better late than never. Ndowooza oba oli awo kinayambako okuba professionalism, oba okubateekateeka obulungi nga bakola emirimu gyabwe. Naye era nabo ne balaga nti waliwo obuzibu obunene obusingira ddala mu security guard gwe musaala. Toyinza kukuumya muntu kawumbi ng'omusasula $25,000. Ekyo kyokka kiteeka abantu be bakuuma ku nninga. Za tuddayo eri maaso gye tuzze nga tugamba nti twetaaga etteeka lye bayita erya minimum wage okubeera nga lijja, otherwise era nabo bagamba ati bizibu okujjako kwogera nabo kubakuuma mpola nti wadde olaba nti bakusasula katono naye gumiikiriza. Naye nabo bantu nti omuntu akuume buwumbi 2, buwumbi 3, akuuma awantu wanene waliwo ssente mumusasula $20,000 kiteeka abantu be bakuuma ku nninga. Era egyo emisango mingi era nabo bagikkiriza nti mingi mwegiri mu ggwanga era gigenda mu maaso.
This or doesn't do the other. It's, for example, teachers have schools, doctors have clinics. So I would want to look at the UPDF in that sense, and in a positive sense, provided they play by the rules. I don't want to be given an unfair advantage over others. Play by the rules. If you go into business, do so lawfully, don't offend the law, and don't have undue advantage over others. I think that way we can move forward. And Chair, you remember you also raised the issue of whether we should think about a distinct law or separate authority because of the numbers. But is it about numbers only? I think it's also about standards, it's about discipline, it's about supervision. Now the form of how you regulate this growing landscape of private security is a detail, but also the formal forces may be few in number, but they have force multipliers. So that's where we say there's a capping on what the private security organization can acquire in terms of equipment. You can't, those limitations are supposed to limit, to ensure that the formal structures and security agencies maintain a monopoly and strength over these private groups. I want to ask the IGP to clarify on the time of training for those who want to acquire private firearm, discipline, standards, but also welfare. These groups, many of them pay their people a pittance, you know, so we're looking in the regulations, how do we maybe I don't know, with your guidance and cooperation, we set a minimum, but we don't have a minimum wage in this country. But how do you give somebody a gun and then you pay him peanuts? So we need to address this with the police. And these are some of the things we have tensions with these groups. They think we are very strict, but some of these things we need to reach some convergence point, especially people who bear arms. On the issue of aspects of how long do you train before you acquire a private firearm, I think the police will answer Honorable Chiwanuka. But last, on issue of returnees, yes, others have been absorbed, but others have not. A few wanted to start their own private security organizations, but they lack the means to do so. But also because they were being paid much, much higher, they can't be absorbed into these private security organizations, especially the foot soldiers. So they are there. It's an issue, but it's not a big issue, because many of them have also migrated to other livelihoods. With the means they got from there, they moved on to do business, to do other things. So I don't think it's a big challenge, security challenge. It's like we had people who went to Chankwanzi. There are many people who know how to use the gun. Actually, it augments the infrastructure of those people who are able, if need be, to be called up for national duty when the need arises. But this feeds into the idea, which is also still in the offing of national service. Such people, trained, half-trained, can all feed into that architecture, but it needs to be formalized. And then we need also, maybe what I take from you, Chair, to know them, a record of all this, and the police leadership is hearing, police, but also the UPDF. At one time, they were agitating for service benefits from the UPDF, but it took time to explain to them that they were not on national duty, they were on their own. So, but it's something we need to have on record. I agree, to know them, to track them, to know where they are, what they are doing. Then those in breach, those ones who have committed offenses, Honorable Chiwanuka, what are we doing to address that? I think it's part of this process.
To get trained and acquire that firearm. And as I wind up on that issue which you, Honorable Minister, you talked about, and I call upon you when you go back to revisit it, this issue to do with UPDF participating, I'm not yet contented. It is like prisons to be allowed to go, because they do other things, they do agriculture, NEC does water, it does engineering, it does, but now in its own functions, and goes and start doing its own function privately. I find it to be conflicting. I call upon you, IGP and Honorable Minister, to go and seriously revisit this issue, specifically, not the other issue that they are supposed to, as the Constitution says, Honorable Minister, yes, they are supposed to engage into other productive work, that is true. But not within your own mandate, where as Constitution you are supposed to do. You go into water, you go into engineering, you go into other books manufacturing and other things. But where you are supposed to do your own mandate, and now you take it take a private wing, I find it difficult there.
They can't, and so.
And how long does that training take?
It's going to be 1 month. We are closing on the 24th of April, 2026.
But it's a beginning. Maybe, Honorable Chair and members, we shall, as we move, even agree on other areas, including period, because it has a cost. an embedded cost, and maybe through this committee it has a cost, but because it's incumbent upon us to have a good product out there, not a risk, we decided to do this start. But also, as we go forward, it needs to be formalized in a framework, and it should be budgeted for. But also, we need to know overall who is trainable, because some of them are old people, you know, those standards, the details. I think we should, as we move on, we should find a convergence point with the PSOs, because now if you force them to bring young ones, where do they put the old ones? So, but it's a start. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very
sessions of interaction.
yeah.
Come again, Chair.
Meet these people and talk.
Yes.
Yeah,
So that it's on your calendar of activities.
Honorable Chair, that is what we discussed with them. Actually, so far we have had 3 meetings with TUPSA, and the results of some of those meetings is what is now yielding the issue of training, standardization, the issue of procuring of the guns, and of course the review of the regulations. And I think we have agreed that we should be meeting quarterly.
Okay.
Quarterly,
That's very good.
to review any operational challenges that they are facing.
So you meet after 3 months?
Yeah, that's what we have agreed, because we realized that for a long time, actually, when we met the first time, they said in the last 4 years, we had never had any interaction.
You can say that in the last 10 years since inception.
They told us 4 years.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, so we have agreed that quarterly we meet with the association and we see how to, you know, improve on our operations.
Okay.
Last you meet them?
The last time we met, actually, the last time we met them actually should be 2 weeks ago.
That is recent.
When we are meeting to get the quotas for the training, because they have to give us the number of people they need, each of the private security. Then they had to get the application forms on whom they want. And you know, as I told you, these people reported to Kabalia just last week.
For training.
For training.
So you train them?
Yes, we are training.
That's very interesting.
This 7,000 for the private security organizations. Because in the meeting...
Is it a one-off?
We are just beginning. We are just beginning because they expressed to us their challenges.
Of course.
Of training and so on. So we said, as a quick win, let us begin with the training where police can put something small.
Can I also know further about that, about the
seeking refuge in logic, because who else other than the police would be best suited to regulate private security organizations? I'm posing that question because the work of PSOs is to augment what the police do. They operate within the circuit of police work, but also they do security work, and security work needs to be regulated by primarily those who carry out that function under the law, to avoid duplicity, but also to avoid some gaps which can be exploited by wrongdoers. That is as far as the police function of regulation of private security companies is concerned. For the UPDF, the Honorable Chiwanduka dwelt on it, that why should UPDF engage in trade? speaking about NEC, and I want to take reference to the constitutional mandate of the UPDF, which among others, if you recall, the article that creates the UPDF, 208, I think, up to 210, among the functions of the UPDF is production to contribute to the economic development of Uganda. That was the spirit behind the creation of NEC by law. And we are not reinventing the wheel, Honorable Chair and Honorable Member. It is done elsewhere. So NEC was created to realize and implement that function under the law to ensure that we don't just fight, but also in peacetime, the UPDF contributes to national development through production, through wealth creation, through business. So NEC was created as such, and an act of parliament was passed to create it. The issues of that he alluded to of being confused with the UPDF, of color, of number plates, those ones, I think, if they are there, in the unlikely event that they are there, we can correct those ones. But I would want to ask that the committee, under your leadership and the Honorable Chiwanuk and others, takes time to visit NEC and see what they do, so that they can walk you through all they do and how, and then you can determine how they do this within the remits of the law. So maybe that one can help to lift this wrong perception that they are acting irregularly by engaging in business. I beg that, Chair, you have time with your committee to visit NEC, and where you have concerns, if they are valid, then the NEC leadership can answer them appropriately. On limited public partnership, now it has been more clarified to call up private security organizations like you do UPDF, like you do Uganda Prison Services. I would want to say that everybody, depending on their competence, has a role in security, even the public. But first call usually is with the formal security systems, the UPDF and the prison services. But also there is the issue of standards, which we are trying to cure now, because how do you call up people with guns with no uniform standards to enter the space of public order? It would be chaotic. Maybe Honorable Chiwanuk, I hopefully that one is an innocent invitation, but it would be inviting trouble. So that is, but hopefully with standardization through training, we can be comfortable enough in case, which is also unlikely, in case we are overwhelmed, to call on PSOs to enter some of these spaces, which are for now exclusively for the formal security organizations. I would like now at this moment to call the IGP and the Director of Operations, especially to augment on the aspect of how often do you interact with these.
We had these people, when we met them, they raised a number of concerns, if I may recollect. They said, for example, that in their course of their private business, they come across information which is of intelligence value. How do they share it? Two, again, from the way they operate, they have seen, I don't know how you handle it, since now technology is in the hands of, it's the most decentralized and liberalized way, a means of work. So they have seen that private individuals have established highly sensitive cameras that they themselves control or in the hands of private security organizations, but there is no integrated form of sharing information with police. You agree with me that while we are here suffering with gray shades in phase 1 and 2 of our CCTVs, you remember what we were saying the other time here, but private security persons and companies have state-of-the-art CCTVs, well ahead of police. So is there a way this can be integrated? So, and when we listened to this, we thought there were legitimate concerns that need to be shared at the national level. Thank you. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chair.
We are not satisfied on some few issues, specifically on the issue of the regulatory conflict, where the primary role of UPDF is known. UPF to provide security, peace, law and order, and to work hand in hand with other private security organizations. Here comes into the field another constitutionally mandated institution called UPDF under NEC. Here raises, the questions are rising from here. Because when you move UPDF into a commercial sector, I don't know whether you looked into that before you sanctioned that company to enter the private sector provision, the provision of the private security. Because an entity which is mandated under the Constitution to be at the forefront of providing security, their concern is, don't you think that they are going to be now compromised? Because now they are going to be money-minded. They want their neck, the neck to do business, and actually not only to do, but to outcompete other private institutions which have been companies which have been formed into the field, not only to participate and to supplement, but to outcompete them. This is the concern which is they are raising. One, their primary role is to be at the forefront with the police to provide security. Now we have sanctioned them to go into private business. Don't you think that there is some conflict there, that they are going their need for money is going to supersede their primary obligation of providing security? That is issue number one in that area. Two, because you are saying that it is a private entity, but me personally have failed to differentiate it. Because they are using UPDF vehicles, personally I have seen them bearing UD, the way UPDF number plates are numbered, even the color has slightly changed, matches, but they are marked neck, but with government number plate. Mr. Honorable Minister, you are trying to say that this is a totally private entity, but they are using government cars to supplement their work. And this, in one way or the other, puts them in an advantage over the other companies. Honorable Minister, the issue which was raised as far as limited public partnership. Some of these companies have cameras, have alarms. How often do you interact with these people to share the concerns of the security? You may not expose the whole of it to them. But this concern that you see now, the terrorists have changed the trend. The thugs have changed. The people who rob people have changed the tactics. How often do you interact with these people? Actually, some of these issues would not have reached here if you sit down and share some of their concerns. They share their concerns. How often do you meet them and share the security concerns in the country, and what is the modality used? For example, an attack has happened, the police has no camera there. You have to engage these private people of the private companies to supplement you with their footages, with their images. This is what the limited public-private partnership, this is what they are raising here, and which I have found that you have not thoroughly given us a meaningful response in that direction. There is a concern to do the taxes. These people are helping you to supplement the security. They are crying of the burden over their heads. I have not had a clear response how you intend to help them over this burden of the taxation, which is actually trying to push them out of this business. And lastly, do you think they have any role in case there are some riots, in case where you need to call upon there is some deficit somewhere as far as insecurity, providing security is concerned? Where and when do you think that you can call them up to come on board to supplement you? The way you'll be
releasing the crime report. One needs to do a comparison, a study, see with the increase of PSOs, is the crime going down? Is the crime going up? Of what advantage are they, since you work hand in hand? And two, that's very important. It just came to my mind. Two, we have over 100,000 returnees from Afghanistan, from Iraq, and these people were trained in private security, in weapon handling, others in many other things. And in my view, it's good, but not all of them have been absorbed by private security organizations. And this for you, Honorable Minister, at policy level. I don't know how you are handling these people. I know, I think last year, one group wanted to even start their own private security company. But would they employ all the 100,000? Certainly not. These are matters you need to handle at policy level. Honorable Chwanka, you had something?
The IGP, whether they have been following, they have that track record. You have licensed these private security companies. They go into the public to assist you to provide security. But while there, they commit a lot of atrocities. They rob, they participate in the robberies, they kill. I don't know whether you have been following that. What is the rate, and how have you gone? How far have you gone to curb that situation? Because they have turned against the people whom they are supposed to guard, the same way few of your officers do, but now it is so much rampant with the security guards. I don't know how far you have gone to. What is the rate? How far have you gone to curb down that situation as far as security companies are concerned. Many of them are in the police cells. I don't know why it takes time to take them to court, but it is known. That is number one. Two, under the recent amendments which we made here in Parliament, the NGO was put under you, and it has a desk under you and the PS. But there is an outcry. Recently, the New Vision wrote that you, so far 4,000 of the CSOs have closed. I don't know whether you have taken the initiative to know what is the problem. The Financial Intelligence Authority is terrorizing them, has closed their accounts unnecessarily, despite the court declarations. They did so unfairly and requiring them to open those accounts. You, as the immediate supervisor or regulator of these NGOs, we are seeing you keeping quiet, and they are crying. So many people have been benefiting under these CSOs, under the health sector, education, and there are so many Ugandans who are being employed under these CSOs, but they are being cropped down. They have been helping us into focusing, even in police, helping you here and there to, as far as human rights are concerned, supporting us here and there. But now they are being closed down. There are those ones which were hijacked in 2017. Up to now, they are still closed. Honorable Minister, what steps are you taking to meet these people and know where the errors are, so that they can also be harmonized? Otherwise, I can see another petition coming, and you also coming back here over those issues of CSOs.
Thank you, Chair, and Honorable Member. On the issue of aspect of civic space, yes, it's within our remit under the NGO Bureau, which is now resident in the ministry after rationalization. We have, I don't know how often it takes, the PS can remind me, dialogues with the NGO sector. And I think there is one due quarterly where we interact, but we haven't had one since the last one. And that's where we address their concerns and we give them feedback, and we also extend our concerns. I'm hearing that issue now of the aspect of closure of accounts for the first time. Maybe I would like to interact with FIA to get the reasons why. You are saying it's within the number of 400 have been closed. So, but for the other NGOs, their compliance aspects, and recently some of them were suspended and they are under investigation for various reasons, and we shall give them feedback. We call them to give their side of the story, but for those other ones, I need to take interest, and so that I have an informed position to share with you on why the FIA closed them, because the FIA has its own mandate, Financial Intelligence Authority, and among others, it's supposed to deal with money laundering. You know, recently we were on the grey list, and we had to take a lot of reforms to get off that grey list of the, what they call FATF, Financial, what is it, the Action Task Force. So even amending our laws and all those things. So I would want to know more from the FIA why they had to take those measures, because civil society activity, if done lawfully, augments government. I agree with you. Education, health, and all those things. But sometimes also they breach the law. And when they are dealt with, they cry foul. So we need to reach a middle ground. They do their work, we do ours, so that everything goes smoothly. But I will ask and get back to you with a formal and informed position. Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Over that, because I don't know who alerted them that you are coming here. They wanted to storm here. I told them, no. You should be by petition. But anyway, we can harmonize and we save our time. For them to come here, we hand another petition over their issues when you are moving closer with them. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Okay, I think
Minister, mwe mutadde ninga ku nsonga ya NGO bakaaba amawulire gawandiika nti ebitongole ebisukka 4,000 bigaddwa. Mwenna mukimanyi bulungi nti ebitongole bino biyamba abantu baffe mu nsonga z'ebyenjigiriza, mu nsonga z'ebyobulamu, mu nsonga za human rights, ne poliisi yennyini babadde nga bagifacilitate nga naye nga tekisinga obukulu mu byonna nti gye bajja ssente ne gavumenti gyezijja. Naye ate bituuka ku bya NGO nga bagiggala kati beeko baana bayita mu Financial Intelligence Authority newamba bank accounts bagenze mu kooti. Financial Intelligence Authority ejemedde ebiragiro bya kooti naye nga ate ayina okubeera nga regulator wa NGO ye minisita ali wano atunula butunuzi abantu babatuga babajja mu mirimu. Bannayuganda bangi bafuuse jobless olw'ebitongole nti bigaddwa ne minisita atunda butunuzi. Kwe kumuguleta in order nti ssebo tetwagala kulinda petition endala wano geno yitaba NGO tule nabo ku nsonga zino zive mu ddiiro. Complaininga ku nsonga nyingi, ensonga z'emisolo okuviira ddala mu poliisi nga babalayisinsinga, URA okutraininga abantu, tewaliiwo forum webasisinkana ne basharinga information to new trends of robbery and thefts zebandibadde bakozesa n'aba security nabo ne bazigamba abantu baabwe okutaasa bannayuganda. Ne bacomplaininga ku nsonga nti waliwo bo bayira nga cameras eziri up to date. There is no modality ngeri ki police wetalina camera we are integrating systems zaabwe okubeera nga ziyamba ku government kuganga baagala batambulire wamu ne police mu kutaasa eggwanga lino. Ekyokubiri nga bacomplaininga nti UPDF omulimu gwayo omukulu mu ggwanga muno kukuuma bannansi n'ebyabwe okusinziira ku musolo ogusasulwa. Kaakati bavuddeyo mu barracks ne ku borders bazze mu private security nabo bennyini nga bagamba kati nabo batandise okukyajinga ssente yeti nga bo balina kukolera bwereere. So kati nga tugamba nti UPDF yes bakirizibwa okwengeginga mu productive activities ng'okuzimba, ng'okukola amazzi, ng'okulima, emirimu egyo. Naye kakati yatebwa oddira omulimu gwe bakuwa mu ssemateeka nagwo n'ogucomolako akatundu n'ogamba wano ngenda kukola bya private nga balabira ddala nga batandise okubanyigiriza okompiutinga nabo ate nga bo babenefiti nga bakozesa bya gavumenti. Offices bali mu za gavumenti neke zekozesa emmotoka bakozesa za gavumenti kyokka nga bakompiutinga nabo bali ku byabwe ku lwabwe. So kwe kwagala komiti eno ebiyingiremu ebateeke ku nninga ebitereera bitereere.
Actually, that is our contribution as police. All the resources right now being provided is from police.
As far as training is concerned,
yes,
they don't contribute anything.
They have not contributed as of now. Yes.
I wanted them to. I understand, yes, that some of these organizations have technology which can complement the work of the police. We do have moments of interaction, and the police leadership will share on that one. But I think the spirit of this now, I get it clearly, is that how do we integrate the capabilities that they have to augment our infrastructure to do our work better, especially where the national coverage of our CCTV doesn't reach. How do we use these, but even those of the public? You know, this has been a running issue. How do we augment the national grid of the cameras with private cameras, including those of private security organizations and the other technologies they have? I think the IGP and the direct operations will amplify on this, especially add more on how often they have discussions with the PSOs in this regard to share intelligence and to see where what they have can help police work. But also, you know, Chair, that among other measures, for purposes of accountability, government sanctioned the aspect of fingerprinting of guns for ease of accountability. And I think PSOs were the first ones who are done. The police can share the statistics of the guns fingerprinted from private security organizations. That's one other measure that government did to ensure ease of traceability in case of breach by some of these private security organizations. Then Honorable Chiwanuka asked, what